It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations, we cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Kruse.
We start off our national broadcast today, welcoming listeners tuning in from two new parts of our great nation. We are airing overnight in Tucson, Arizona on KVOI AM 1030, a state I always associate with quail and dove hunting, though there's a whole lot more to the outdoors than that in the southwestern U.S. Another new station bringing us on board is KLID AM 1340, located in the heartland of America, Poplar Bluff, Missouri. We are thrilled to have all of you on the air with us this weekend and for many weeks to come. If you're a new listener wondering what America Outdoors Radio is all about, let me sum it up for you. We cover fishing, hunting, the shooting sports, and conservation issues that affect you as an outdoors man or outdoors woman. This week is a great example of that. We'll start off in just a couple of minutes telling you about the biggest firearms trade show on earth. It's called SHOT Show, and it's going off later this month in Las Vegas. Bear hunting season is over because all of those bears are hibernating right now, but come spring, it will pick up again in several states, and one way to bag a bruin is by hunting them over bait. But is hunting bears over bait ethical or sportsmanlike? Brian Lynn with the Sportsman's Alliance will join us to weigh in on that and how the efforts by one group of anti-hunters to define ethics in hunting is driving a wedge that is damaging our sport. One hunting season that is open right now for hunters across most of our country is waterfowl hunting, but it's been tough the last few weeks. Harsh winter conditions in the eastern half of the nation have frozen waters all the way into the southern states, but the weather in the Pacific Flyway has been relatively normal. Kent Contreras, a longtime pro-staffer with Avery Outdoors, will give you the latest migration and hunting report put together by pro-staffers hunting from Washington State south to California and Nevada. And as an added bonus, Kent's going to share some late-season tips to help you bag more of these well-educated ducks and geese who have seen a lot of hunters and a lot of decoy spreads winging their way south this fall and winter. Turning our attention from firearms and hunting to fishing, what may well be the biggest ice fishing tournament in the United States is happening this month in Brainerd, Minnesota. Well over 10,000 anglers are expected to descend onto the ice of Gull Lake to wet their lines in one of the 20,000 pre-drilled holes waiting for them at this one-day event. There is $150,000 in prizes that will be given away in this annual fundraiser for the Brainerd Jaycees, and Sean Meyer, the chairman of the Ice Fishing Extravaganza, will join us to tell you more about it. We've also got some unfortunate news to share with you this week from the Bass Tournament Trail, but before we talk any more about cold weather hunting and fishing, let's take you to our first destination, a warm place to be on a cold winter day, Las Vegas. Next on America Outdoors Radio, it is show season, and the biggest one that's taking place in the United States isn't even open to the public. It's SHOT Show. It's taking place January 23rd through the 26th at the Sands Expo in Las Vegas, Nevada. With us here to tell you more about it is Bill Brassard, the Senior Director of Communications from the National Shooting Sports Foundation. Bill, great to have you on the show again.
Great to be back, John. Thanks for having me on.
So, Bill, first things first, the date's January 23rd through the 26th. This seems to be a week later than usual. Is that correct, or am I just off?
It's probably a few days later. They usually shoot for that second to third week in January in Las Vegas, and so it may alter by a few days, but not too much off.
All right. Well, whether it's a few days off for me or not, folks, this is a can't-miss opportunity, but you have to be, well, a select member to attend this. Bill, why don't you tell folks who is allowed to attend SHOT Show, because you just can't walk off the street and get in there.
Well, you can. And first of all, I should say SHOT Show stands for Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade. So it's the largest show of its kind in the world, and it's focused on those shooting, hunting, and outdoor products. And you must be a member of the industry, basically somebody who's involved with a manufacturer, a wholesaler, a retailer, a shooting range, or a member of the outdoor media to attend the SHOT Show. I know when the public hears about the show, they're almost ready to book their tickets to Vegas, but we advise people not to do that because they won't be able to get in.
Well, there's a very good reason people want to attend. And folks, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, that's a pretty small group, but it's anything but small. I mean, you've busted over 60,000 attendees for what, 2-3 years now?
Yes, about 65,000 last year. Wouldn't surprise me if we did a little bit more this year, and that includes 2,500 members of the media, and the show floor encompasses about 1,600 exhibiting companies. So the SHOT Show is approximately the 15th largest trade show in North America.
And folks, if you've never been to SHOT Show before, don't think that you can do this in one day. Actually, well, in the past, it was 2 floors, and it took you a couple days to get through. Last year, it was 3 floors. Why don't you go ahead and describe the layout, what folks are going to find there at the Expo Center that people get to see?
Well, we're actually bursting the Sands Expo Center at the seams. We filled the 2 show exhibit floors, and we even spill over, taking up rooms in the Venetian Hotel for more exhibit space. So, and we have quite a waiting list of companies to get into SHOT Show. So it certainly is a popular show, and people who come to the show need to be prepared. We have, I think we've calculated it at about 10 miles if you wanted to visit every single exhibitor. So there's a lot of people, taking a well-needed break to soothe their feet during the course of the show.
And why don't you describe the categories of things that folks are going to find there? Because it's not just hunting, it's not just shooting, it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, it really is. Most people think it's a gun show, or with an emphasis on firearms, and that's true to a point. But really, firearms make up only about 1/4 of the products at the show, and the rest include optics. You can shop for a scope or binoculars, knives, clothing, outdoor gear of all sorts, and law enforcement is also a big and growing part of the show.
As a matter of fact, one thing I love about SHOT Show is seeing people literally from all over the world, whether it be media members or whether it be folks from military branches and organizations from around the world, and law enforcement organizations too. This is a really big deal, and we've got to talk about the day at the range. It used to be for the media only. That's now expanded, hasn't it?
It sure has. It's one of the most coveted invitations at the SHOT Show. Industry Day at the Range takes place the day before the show, and media and buyers that get invited to Industry Day at the Range can actually test the new products. So they can shoot the firearms, test out the scopes, and learn a lot more about these products from the representatives who are right there at the range.
And folks, trust me, it is a lot of fun. Definitely bring your shooting ears. You're going to need them out there at the range. Bill, last but not least, is it too late for folks in the industry to attend this year?
It is too late for media because we are already at capacity for media. But for any other trade professional in the industry, they can apply to attend at shotshow.org. And even the public who cannot attend can keep up with the news of the show at shotshow.org.
That website, again, is shotshow.org. And again, if you maybe work at a sporting goods store or a gun shop in your town and you're listening today and you want to attend the biggest show of this sort in the entire world, trust me, it's an experience you'll never forget. The website, again, is shotshow.org. If you've never been, you've got to go. It's like nothing else. Bill, thanks for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks, John.
Last summer, 5 Dallas law enforcement officers were killed while protecting hundreds of protesters who marched against America's police. My brother, Mike Kroll, was one of them. No protesters lost their lives. No media were hit by bullets. But Mike was there, protecting, serving, sacrificing, as he did every day for 8 years on the Dallas PD. My brother gave his life protecting those who marched against him. That's why I back our blue.
It's time America honored its police again. I'm Wayne LaPierre with the NRA. Help us back our blue by donating your vehicles to NRA Cars for Freedom, and we'll come pick them up. Donations are tax deductible and will support the NRA Foundation's law enforcement training to active and retired police officers. Help us back our blue. Visit NRACarsForFreedom.com or call 1-866-NRA-GIFT today.
If you consider yourself a hardcore fisherman who takes pride in being the first person on the water and the last one off, Fish Fighter products are designed and built for you right here in the USA. Fish Fighter products are used by the top fishing guides in the Northwest because they know having the right equipment is imperative to a successful fishing trip. With our Relentless Series tackle trays, rocket launcher rod wraps, and breakaway river anchors, Fish Fighter products makes the gear you can count on. Find out more at fishfighterproducts.com.
Looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook because we've got it right here. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer an affordable platform to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting host John Kruse through his website at AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com. But hurry, if you wait too long, this big opportunity might just get away. That's AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Kruse. It's time to talk bear hunting. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And with us here to tell you more about one specific way that's been attracting a lot of attention is Brian Lynn with the Sportsman's Alliance. Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, John. Nice to be here. Thank you very much.
So, Brian, you and I, we live in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State. We spot and stalk our bears out here because we have no other way to do it, do we?
No, here in Washington and even down in Oregon, we lost the use of bait and hounds back in 1996. So, no, spot and stalk's about it.
So the Humane Society has been behind several ballot initiatives in different states to ban the use of hounds, to ban the use of bait for bear hunting. But the fact of the matter is, in certain places, hunting over bait's really the only way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, these are apex predators. They don't have set movement patterns like deer. They just go wherever they want and eat whatever they want. They have huge ranges. And believe it or not, a big black bear is an elusive animal. They're like a shadow walking through the woods. So using bait or hounds is the most successful way to hunt them. It's a tool that wildlife biologists use to manage the bear populations. It increases your odds. Neither one is by far a slam dunk, but it can help increase odds, which wildlife biologists can use to help balance the ecosystem between carrying capacity and prey and predator species.
And you know, it's funny because the Humane Society of the United States, which, folks, is a complete anti-hunting organization, they've managed to change the narrative. They've made a lot of people think that hunting bears over bait is unethical, that it's unsporting, that it's unfair. But the fact of the matter is, if you go someplace like Minnesota, where the woods are so thick that you literally can't see 30 yards into them, you're not going to have any other choice in states like that, in situations like that, except to hunt over bait, are you, Brian?
No, that's very true. I mean, they've tried twice in Maine to stop bear hunting with traps, baits, and hounds, and that's exactly what it's like there. You can't see 30 yards from you. So that's the only way you're going to kill a bear. It was 93% of the harvest of bears is taken by either bait, hounds, or traps, 7% by stock and stock or happening to come upon one when you're deer hunting.
You know, Brian, I hesitate to ask the next question, but I'm going to, because I think a lot of hunters don't even consider it when they go out hunting. You know, the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, their tagline is hunting is conservation. And so my question is this: why do black bear numbers need to be managed through hunting?
Well, it's just wildlife management. It's no different than a deer or any other animal. We have a limited, finite amount of wild spaces and habitats that can support animals, and everything moves from there up to the prey species to the predator species. If you do not manage a apex predator, well, they're just going to keep eating until they run out of food, and then they move into the neighborhoods. The only thing that results from not properly managing wildlife is disease, starvation, or conflict with man, all of which lead to death still, but it's in a chaotic, suffering manner. Whereas with hunting, it manages it properly. When you're talking about an apex predator, what do they eat? Mountain lions, bears, whatever those animals are, they eat deer and elk. And so they're going to eat those as much as they can until they run out.
So the bottom line is this, folks. If you don't hunt bear, you're going to have less deer and elk to hunt. And if you don't manage species through hunting, it's going to be a mess out there. So hunting, folks, is not unethical. And hunting over bait is not an unethical means to hunt black bear, especially in situations where they can't be hunted any other way.
Well, hang on. Let's back up a second. The animal rights movement loves to say that hunting over bait isn't ethical. It's a slam dunk. It's not. The fact is, hunting over bait gives you a better opportunity to encounter an animal, as we've already said. But beyond that, you can get a clean, ethical shot on the animal off of a solid shooting rest, as opposed to a quick offhand shot that when you happen to stumble across a bear in the woods. Beyond that, you can take your time with the shot, and you can age and sex the animal. Is it male? Is it female? Is it a wet sow or a sow with cubs? Is it a young animal or a mature animal? The ethics of it is far better and far greater than just seeing a bear and taking a snapshot and wounding it or taking a sow with cubs. The animal rights movement, Humane Society, they love to say that we're killing bears out there and orphaning all these little cubs. It's the exact opposite. Bait and hounds allow you to age and sex that animal and see if there's cubs there. It's far better than what would happen without it.
Brian, that may be the best argument for hunting over bait and hunting with hounds that I have ever heard. Thank you for stating that so succinctly. Let's move on to a film that you have helped make that's on YouTube. It's called The Hunger. Sportsman's Alliance talks bear hunting with bait. Tell our listeners about it.
Yeah, we worked with the guys from Scout Look, which is a very cool weather app that you can get on your phone that gives you all the weather for days in advance. It's very accurate. They have some great content, and so we wanted to talk about this. I know the producer, and we wanted to talk about bears and this exact topic, bait, ethic, why it matters. And so we went and did an Idaho hunt with them last spring, and it was an eye-opener. You know, the animal rights movement like to say it's a slam dunk, but as you can see in this video, we're in big country, and there were 7 hunters in camp, hunted for 3 full days, 6 hours a day on stand. That's more than 3 weeks on stand. I killed a bear, and I think 3 other bears were seen.
Wow, that is not a whole bunch. But folks, you'll definitely want to go to YouTube and watch this. Again, it's The Hunger. Sportsman's Alliance talks bear hunting with bait. It's only 7 minutes long, but it's a very powerful little film, and it really makes the argument about why we should be doing bear hunting and doing bear hunting over bait, just like Brian explained. Very well produced, very well shot. You're really going to enjoy it. Before we go, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about the organization you work for, the Sportsman's Alliance. What does it do?
Yeah, the Sportsman's Alliance, this will be our 40th year in existence. We were created specifically to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping from the animal rights movement. We work at the ballot boxes, including here in Washington, state legislatures, all 50 states, and in the court system, federal and state courts.
So, Brian, we are out of time, but if folks want to find out more about the work the Sportsman's Alliance is doing, what's the website?
Sportsmen's, M-E-N-S, sportsmansalliance.org.
That's sportsmansalliance.org, sportsmansalliance.org. Check out the work they're doing and support it too. Brian, thanks for sharing this great insight about bear hunting and the ways to do it on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you very much, John.
If you didn't catch the name of that film, it's called The Hunger. Sportsman's Alliance talks bear hunting with bait. Look for it on YouTube. Does our conversation with Brian Lynn have you thinking about a spring bear hunt? Like we said, it's not available in all states, but you can do it in several western states and in several Canadian provinces. Some of your best bets, according to Peterson's Hunting Magazine, would include Alaska, of course, where there's about 100,000 black bears roaming the last frontier, and the use of both bait and hounds is legal. Montana's a good bet, too. There's somewhere between 9,000 and 17,000 black bear wandering big sky country, but no bait or hounds are allowed for hunting. It's also a spot and stock affair in Oregon, but there are some 25,000 bears in the Beaver State and 4,400 spring bear tags available for purchase over the counter on a first-come, first-served basis. Most of those bears are found in the southwest part of the state in the coastal range. There you go. Great information about bear hunting and bear hunting ethics. Stick around. We've got a whole bunch more of the great outdoors coming your way right after this short break.
Are you looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook, because we've got it right here for you. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer affordable platforms to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting John Kruse through his website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. Hurry, though. If you wait too long, the big opportunity might just get away. AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.
You're back with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Kruse, and it is January, and waterfowl hunting season continues across our great nation. Now, January's been a tough month for a lot of waterfowlers in the southeast and in the east because of that winter blizzard that just froze everything up, especially waters that aren't normally frozen. So we thought we would head west, talk to our favorite pro staffer from Avery Outdoors, Kent Contreras, and see how things are going in the Pacific Flyway. Kent, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, John. Great to be with you again.
So, Kent, I know you were just hunting in the area you live in eastern Washington near the border of Idaho, and you managed to scrape out a couple of geese off the ice, of all things.
Oh, yeah. It's, throwing everything you can at them, and I decided to put a little small spread out, just a dozen flocked shells of geese around a little water hole, and had a flock come in and managed to pull a couple out of there. So giving them something different to look at.
Well, I know it's all the sweeter because you've got a new dog this year too, don't you?
Yeah, he's a handful.
They always are. Let's talk about the rest of Washington and Oregon too. How are things looking?
Okay, well, we'll start off up in my area. You know, we have the Ponderay River that, with that cold snap, it pretty much froze over, and it kind of scattered the birds around, pushed them more to the south, kind of into the Moses Lake, Potholes, Spokane, Cheney area. What did happen, though, is the water's thawing out. The birds are concentrating back into the open waters and following the ice. Over in the Wenatchee area, it seems like the bird numbers are dropping a little bit. Did get a couple of reports up to the north of there that seem to be pretty decent for bird numbers. And then the west side of the state still seems to be doing very well. Lots of birds being held up there in the Seattle, the Puget Sound area, down towards Vancouver and the Portland area. So west side seems to be doing a lot better than us over here.
I would say so. I've been getting some reports from Western Oregon, the Willamette Valley. Mixed results, lots of birds, so not always lots of success. They seem to know where they want to go, and that might not necessarily be where the hunters have got their blinds and deeks. Let's head to California. The rice fields, those have got to be full of ducks, you'd think, at this time of year.
Well, reports are mixed. The Sacramento Valley, up and down the Central Valley, there are birds. A lot of the birds are educated now, so they are staying away from those typical areas that are hunted. They're flying high, but the birds are still there. They do have some pretty good numbers. Haven't seen a whole lot of great reports, but if you do your homework and you try to scout as much as you can, you'll find the spots where the birds are going to be at. It seems to be more teal, gadwall, and northern shovelers, but the birds do seem to be concentrating down there a little bit more.
And last but not least, in the Pacific Flyway, you've got a dedicated pro-staffer that hunts a lot near Fallon, Nevada. What's he been seeing?
He's saying the same thing that we're seeing up here. If you do your homework, you scout, and you find the spots where the birds want to be, you're going to come home with some meat in the freezer. The area is holding shovelers, gadwall, and teal mostly. The geese, for the most part, from there have moved on, but still good hunting. We have a couple weeks left of the season, and they're still getting after it.
You're listening to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Kruse. We're talking to Kent Contreras with Avery Outdoors, who just shared a Pacific Flyway hunting report with you. Kent, let's change topics, and this is going to be of interest no matter what flyway you're hunting in. Late season duck hunting tactics. Like you've said a few times in the last minute or two, these ducks are very educated at this point. What do you do to draw these birds in close enough for a shot at this time of year?
Well, as you know, birds are educated, so they're really picking apart any spreads. They're used to seeing the big decoy spreads on the rivers or out in the field. So what I try to do is I'll pair up any mallard decoys I have, throw a few straggler drakes out there, and I'll also use a lot of full bodies on the shorelines. The weather's cold, the water's cold, the birds kind of want to be resting a little bit more so on the shorelines. So if I can find some open sandbars or ground free of snow, I'll throw some full-bodied ducks out there. I drop my numbers quite a bit. I'm using more around a dozen decoys on the water and probably another dozen full bodies on the shorelines for ducks. I try to concentrate more in the areas that have fresh water flowing in. So like any places there's a stream or a creek that flows into the river, I'll try to set up on that or near that. Birds want that fresh water and anything coming into the main river system. So if I'm going after them, that's kind of what I use. But right now we're seeing a lot of divers coming through the area, so that changes everything on my end along the river. I'll put out a huge spread of diver decoys and don't really do much calling at all. We just put them out there and let them swing by, and hopefully they'll make a few trips over and decide that's where they want to be. So we're seeing a lot of bufflehead, goldeneye, redhead, ringnecks, and scaup in the area.
And that brings up another question. I guess I've never really asked anybody about this. When it comes to divers, I know a mallard call will go a long ways. You can use a mallard call to draw in widgeon and teal, but divers, do you use calls at all when it comes to the diving ducks?
I personally do not. The only thing I'll do is around here, the widgeon seem to be flying with the divers. They'll raft up with them. And so I'll put a couple dozen widgeon out there, and I'll just use a widgeon call. And, they'll come through. The one thing that they do like is a spinning wing decoy. And I'll just use that to catch their attention. And as they do their circles, if you've ever watched a flock of divers, they kind of do a figure-8 pattern. They'll come in at you straight on, and then they'll veer off. And they'll do a figure-8, and they'll come back, and they'll do that 3 or 4 times. And every time they go away, I just hit that spinning wing decoy to flash them and keep them interested in the decoy spread.
Great technique. I love that a lot. We've got about a minute left. Let's talk about one tactic that you recommend for late season goose hunting.
Oh, for the most part, I will scout some more. Find out where they're at. Look at what they're showing me. They're usually in family groups at this point in time, and they will have a family group on one side, and then 60 yards down the river, they'll have another family group. So I'll try to mimic that. On the colder days, I will use flocked shells or shells of any kind that I have, goose shells, and put them along the ice shelf or along the shoreline to mimic the resting birds, just taking it easy, a relaxed type of a spread where there's not a whole lot of aggressive feeding, but it's a good, safe place for the birds to be at. And that's, right now this time of year with the snow on the ground, shells are a big, big thing in my spread. I've got probably 6 dozen shells. I'll put out anywhere from 1 dozen to 4 dozen at a time just along the shorelines or the ice shelves, and that seems to work pretty good.
All right, well, Kent, we have to go, but folks, there's some great advice you just heard about bagging late-season ducks, late-season geese, and if you need gear to help you do that, whether it be this year in the waning days of this season or for next year that you realize you just need something new, then go to AveryOutdoors.com. It's AVERY Outdoors.com. You'll also find Avery products in sporting goods stores all over this great country we live in. Kent, thanks for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you, John. Good hunting.
There's no more majestic, magical, adventuresome country than the Western United States of America to enjoy a great family vacation. Hello, I'm Mark Hemstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. Shiloh Inns are still offering affordable 4-star accommodations at 2-star prices. Enjoy deluxe smoke-free suites, spacious pools and spas, and fully equipped fitness centers. From free high-speed internet in every room to a free continental breakfast or full, hot, delicious breakfast at most Shiloh Inns. There are no hidden fees like some of the big chain hotels charge. Even the kids stay free, and Shiloh Inns are dog-friendly. For reservations, call 1-800-222-2244 or visit our website at shilohins.com. Shiloh Inns, affordable excellence. American family-owned and proud of it.
Where can you find 4 rivers, 3 great fisheries, 2 majestic mountains, and 1 fantastic adventure all year round? Sensational The Dalles. Active community, authentic food, and great beer. ExploreTheDalles.com. Come and create your own adventure, and maybe even you can hook a river monster in the Dalles.
If you consider yourself a hardcore fisherman who takes pride in being the first person on the water and the last one off, Fish Fighter products were designed for you. We make products for the relentless fishermen who know that big fish are caught by those who put in the work. With our Relentless Series tackle trays, rocket launcher rod racks, and breakaway river anchors, you'll spend more time chasing the fish, not your gear. Designed and built right here in the USA, Fish Fighter products won't let you down. Gear up at fishfighterproducts.com.
This land, once wild and free, fades now from our memory. But I remember what it was like, what we were like, what we are capable of when we band together. Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. These natural wonders are where waterfowl begin their cycle of life, where the deer and the antelope play, and where we, the people, gather together to see and share what makes the outdoors so great. The time is now to band together with organizations like Ducks Unlimited. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Kruse. This portion of the show is brought to you by Fish Fighter Products, making innovative gear for all of your angling and boating needs. Find out more at fishfighterproducts.com. We start off with tragic news from the FLW Tournament Trail, where 2018 opened with the news that a fisherman has been lost on Lake Okeechobee in Florida. That's where a fishing league worldwide, also known as FLW Bass Tournament, was taking place. Anglers reported the water was rough on the big lake January 4th, and so was the fishing. But it wasn't until one boat didn't check in at the end of the day that fellow anglers and tournament officials got worried. 2 anglers were missing: Bill Casaya from Louisiana and his co-angler, Nick Kaler from Florida. Both were experienced tournament pros fishing together, but the rough water got the best of them, with a big wave tossing the two out of Casaya's boat. Casaya was found that night, hypothermic, with his boat, which was adrift against a rocky shoreline of the lake. Kaler, though, was nowhere to be found, and 6 days after this horrible accident, he has still not been found. FLW wisely canceled the rest of the tournament to concentrate on finding Kaler, and a GoFundMe page has been set up for his family. Simply look for Nick, that's spelled N-I-K, Kaler, on GoFundMe if you want to help out his family. Heading to Missouri, we've got some better news for you, and it involves sturgeon. These big prehistoric fish are found in good numbers in the Great Lakes as well as the Pacific Northwest in big rivers like the Columbia and the Snake. And they used to be pretty well established in the Show Me State too, at least until overharvest of these big fish caused their numbers to plummet in the 1970s, and they were listed as an endangered species. Fortunately, the Missouri Department of Conservation has been working on bringing these fish back, and they've been finding out a lot about these fish along the way, to include how far they range in their travels. Radio transmitter tagged lake sturgeon are not only swimming in Missouri's waters these days, but far beyond. One such fish, nicknamed Norman, was radio tagged in 2015, and this past spring, his receiver signaled he was 160 river miles away in Iowa, presumably looking for some female sturgeon companionship. Several other sturgeon tagged in 2016 in the Osage River have been found on the Mississippi and Missouri rivers since then, up to 170 miles away, and one fish tagged in 2008 in Missouri was caught 6 years later in 2014 in the Arkansas River, traveling about 600 miles before it was hooked. Our thanks to the Fishing Wire for this story. Next on America Outdoors Radio, it wouldn't be winter without an ice fishing tournament, and perhaps the biggest one in the entire nation is taking place this month in Minnesota. It's the Brainerd Jaycee's Ice Fishing Extravaganza, taking place January 27th. With us here to tell you more about it is the chairman of the event this year, Shane Meyer. Shane, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks.
So Shane, tell our listeners a little bit about how the Brainerd Jaycee's Ice Fishing Extravaganza goes off every year.
Well, I'll tell you what, we go out on Thursday morning and start setting up essentially an entire city right on the lake. We've got tents that go up, we plow roads, we've got 20,000 holes that we drill on Friday so that everybody gets a chance to pick their spot. And then we get 10,000 of our best friends out with us to raise a whole bunch of money for charity.
That is crazy. 20,000 holes in the ice. That's unbelievable. How many people participate, and where are they from? They can't all be locals from the Brainerd area.
Oh, no. We've been represented in almost every state. I think we're represented that we know of in 49 states, which it's probably all 50. And then upwards of 20 countries have been represented. I mean, we've had Germany, Sweden, China, Japan, South Africa, and people from all over the world come to this, and it's just a great event. It's a spectacle on ice. You just can't comprehend how how big it is until you actually see it. It's a square mile of ice set aside for a one-day contest, 3 hours. We go out and fish from noon to 3 and give away $200,000 plus in prizes. First place is a truck, and then the big prizes that are kind of scattered throughout the prize board after that. 100th place is an ice castle that probably values in the $20,000 range. So you can hit every 25th spot and get a four-wheeler. So we've got it set up to where you don't have to be the best guy out there. You just got to be the luckiest guy out there, or gal.
I love it.
And we have families and people that have been coming to this thing for 28 years.
Oh, this sounds like a hoot. Did you say 10,000 anglers participate in this on an annual basis?
Yep, 10,000 plus people. I think last year we just about touched 10,000. We've had closer to 15 some years. It kind of depends on the weather. The local guys don't plan ahead as good as the people coming from out of the state. So if it's really nice, we get a lot more locals.
That makes perfect sense. So here's the next question for you. What are people fishing for? What are they turning in? Are we talking perch? Are we talking walleye, pike? What species are they bringing in for the weigh-in?
Well, the lake is Gull Lake, just north of Brainerd, Minnesota, and Gull's a really great fishery, and there is plethora of fish in there. The winningest fish in 28 years has been the walleye. Second, real close second, is the northern. People are weighing perch, they're weighing crappies, they're weighing eelpout, dogfish, tulipy, or whitefish or Cisco, depending on where you live. So there's a whole bunch of different fish being weighed out there, and really it's kind of anybody's game. You could get a 1 pound perch and be sitting on a four-wheeler, so you could catch almost anything.
I love it. And what are the proceeds from this derby used for by the Brainerd Jaycees?
We touch 50 different charities locally, or upwards of 50, sometimes more, sometimes a couple less. And it's anybody from the Boy Scouts to the Lions Clubs to the Sertomans, churches, anybody that's a nonprofit that might need some money. A lot of them will come out and help us put the contest on, and then in turn we donate them whatever we can. We divide it up at the end of the year, whatever we make, and last year was just over $200,000 in donations. And then our main benefactor is a really great nationally known camp. It's called Camp Confidence. It's a camp that offers outdoor experiences for children and adults with cognitive and physical disabilities. So if you're in a wheelchair, they'll get you out fishing. If you're, have a mental illness, they'll get you out doing archery, doing hiking, things that these people normally wouldn't get the opportunity to do. They make it happen. And I've been out there a number of times to volunteer, and it is just a wonderful place.
Well, take it all together, and it sounds like an incredible event that's going for some great causes. Again, it's the Brainerd Jaycee's Ice Fishing Extravaganza. And folks, if you want to find out more and maybe register to compete in this, what's got to be a memorable, very memorable event that you'll never forget, here's the website. It's icefishing.org. Again, icefishing.org. That's the website to go to if you want to find out more about the Brainerd Jaycee's Ice Fishing Extravaganza taking place January 27th in Minnesota. Shane, thanks for telling us all about it today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks for having me.
I'm afraid we're running out of time this week, but before we go, I'd like to welcome our new listeners again, tuning in from Missouri and from Arizona, and invite you to check us out on the web. You can do so at our website. You'll find that at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com, where you'll also find previews of what's coming up in the week ahead, and you can listen to last week's show. Another place on the web where you can also find information about hunting, fishing, and the outdoors is on our Facebook page. Just go to America Outdoors Radio, like that page, and follow us, and you'll be in the know. Finally, you can hear us on the go and on demand anytime you want on Podbean. Just subscribe to America Outdoors Radio, or on our YouTube channel. Just go to our channel, which is Northwestern Outdoors. That's one word. We'll be back next week with another hour of fishing, hunting, the shooting sports, and conservation. Until then, I do hope you'll get a chance to get outside yourself. It may be January, but trust me, there's a lot to do out there, even at this time of year. Here's hoping the good Lord blesses you in the week ahead, and do remember, it is your country and your outdoors.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, a nationwide group working to keep public lands in public hands. We've helped ban the use of drones for hunting. We help repair wildlife corridors in key riparian areas. We speak up against illegal ATV use. Please join this dynamic conservation group. Check us out at backcountryhunters.org.